All right, well, seems to have capped off, so I suppose we'll get started with introductions. Um, Hi, everybody. My name is Connor Nichols, and I'm an AmeriCorps member through Conservation Nebraska's Common Ground program. I wanted to thank everybody for coming to this program, focused on energy cost savings. It's just going to be outlining different ways you can reduce your energy bills, including going over NPPD's EnergyWise programs. Just a few reminders for everyone. Those of you who are online will have their cameras off and microphones muted, so you can't be seen or heard. Any questions you have can be put into the Q&A section towards the bottom of your screen, and we'll do the best we can to answer them at the end of the presentation. Additionally, this webinar is being recorded, so if you miss anything or just want to watch it again, you should be able to find it on our YouTube channel within a few weeks. Lastly, there's going to be a short poll towards the end of the webinar. If you could please make sure to fill that out before you leave. We really appreciate it, and it helps us to kind of improve and focus our events on things that people want to see. With that being said, I'll introduce our speaker, Jim Lautzenheiser. He's currently an energy efficiency consultant with NPPD. He's also a member of the Association of Energy Engineers, is a certified energy manager, holds a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Engineering from UNL, and an associate's degree in electronics from Northeast Community College. Jim also has around 20 years of experience in the electrical utility field, 15 years of experience as an energy efficiency consultant, and more than 10 years of experience in building construction. So with that, I'll let Jim take it ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for having me present today. Like he said, my name is James Lautzenheiser, Jim Lautzenheiser. I'm the energy efficiency consultant in the sustainability group at Nebraska Public Power, and I'm located currently in Norfolk, Nebraska. Like he said, I've been with the NPPD for about 20 years. And during that time, I've worked with residential, commercial, industrial, and ag customers during these years, and have been proficient in helping our customers save wasted energy, which we'll talk more in detail shortly. Today's presentation is on smart ways to save on utility bills. There's a lot of information provided today, so if you miss anything, be sure to ask questions at the end or just review the record sessions later. Thank you again. Let's talk a little bit about Nebraska Public Power. Nebraska is the only state in the United States that is completely 100% public power. NPPD and our wholesale partners, which we sell power to, do not pay income or property tax, which allows us to keep our rates low for our customers. Public power success is measured by how much money stays within the community through low rates and not by how much goes out to stockholders. Public power benefits are low-cost power, reliable service, and local control. Local costs boost local economies. We like to keep our money within our local towns and cities. Public power is non-for-profit. As you can see on the map, Nebraska is the third lowest cost per kilowatt hour in the country for residential customers, and that's something pretty cool to be able to brag about. So living in Nebraska is about the cheapest place you can as far as electricity rates. NPPD's vision. Our vision is to be dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for Nebraskans now and for the future. Our mission is to safely generate and deliver reliable, low-cost, sustainable energy and provide outstanding customer service. One way we provide outstanding customer service is by having a team of energy efficiency consultants located throughout the state which are proficient in technical energy efficiency services and advice. Plus, we provide energy efficiency assessments for our customers at no cost. So why are we focused on energy efficiency? Well, we at NPPD are in the business of selling energy that is of value. Energy efficiency is a long-term strategy focused on finding the waste of energy, not of value. By helping our customers and our wholesale partners customers reduce the waste, we position ourselves to either not generate another kilowatt hour, or we get to sell the otherwise wasted kilowatt hour to utilities outside of Nebraska. In other words, we help customers find their wasted kilowatt hours, help them save money, and then give that kilowatt hour to the next customer next door, or not generate the kilowatt hour in the first place, saving us money. Or we could take that kilowatt hour and make revenue by selling it to someone else, and then put those revenues back into our rates, keeping our costs low. We see it as a win-win situation for everyone. Another way we help our customers in energy efficiency is to provide incentive programs to help them improve their homes to be more energy efficient, which will overall help save money on their utility bills. Listed is a list of programs that we have for our residential customers. We'll go through each one more in detail shortly. In order to know how to be more energy efficient, or what energy efficiency improvements will make the most difference on your utility bill, we must first know where all the energy that you are using in your home is going. Let's look at the typical residential energy use in Nebraska. You can see that the largest piece of the pie in the chart is heating, which is about 45% of your annual bill. This isn't so surprising since we live predominantly in a cold climate zone for most of the year. Yes, we do get very hot in the summer. We do have the extreme temperatures in the summer, but it's only for a short few months versus the winter, which seems to last forever if you're from Nebraska. Next, you can see our air conditioning energy, or space cooling, is 9%. If you add both of these up, they would total 54%. What that is saying is that 50% of your annual bill is due to heating and cooling your homes. If we can lower the energy used to heat and cool our house, then our bills will naturally be lower. Next biggest piece of the pie is water heating, which is at 18%. So heating, cooling, and water heating together is 72% of the bill. The energy efficiency consultants at NPPD generally find that most solutions to high bills, or best way to lower your utility bill, is by focusing on these three items. The rest of the bill, or energy use in your home, is due directly to appliances, electronics, and lighting, as you can see, as all the other small pieces. We will look at each one of these in detail in the following slides. Now that we can see where our energy is typically consumed in our house, we need to get to know what other factors can contribute to energy use in your home. We get many calls complaining that their bills are so much higher than the neighbor's house, and that they have exactly the same style of home. Why is my bill higher than theirs, they ask. Our answer is generally, every home is uniquely designed and operated. From the actual frame design, or the blueprint design, the contractors who worked on your building your home, many times one house will be built by this contractor, and then the other house is built by this other contractor, and they practice different things, and they actually do different ways of installing insulation, which can change the way that your house operates. Also, the different toys that we have in our home, such as hot tubs, steam rooms, gaming computers, and a lot more. Each home's energy consumption is different. We need to keep that in mind. And the one factor that most people don't consider is that the number of people in the home affects the energy use. And the way they practice energy efficiency can significantly affect the energy use as well. All these factor into your home's energy use and ultimately your monthly utility bill. All right, now that we know typically energy uses in a typical Nebraska house, and that every house and household is different, we are now going to review smart ways to save on utility bills. And you can see there stuck here. Okay, here we go. We are now going to review smart ways to save on utility bills. How best to do this other than the top 10 energy list that we're going to share here. Sorry, the preview came up before, so I got a little lost there. Anyway, back on task here. Since the largest portion of the pie chart that we looked at before is heating and cooling your home at 50% of your annual bill, generally improving heating and cooling or HVAC in your home will be the greatest energy saver and the number one tip for you today. So tip number one is replace existing inefficient heating and cooling systems with new Energy Star rated high efficiency heat pump system. If your heating and cooling system is old, about 15 years and older, and considered to be inefficient, replacing it with a new high efficiency heat pump system makes sense. Let's quickly review how heat pumps save you money. In Nebraska, homes are typically heated with the following types of heating systems. The first one is gas, and usually gas is propane, natural gas, and fuel oil. They're at best 95% efficient. Next is wood. Some people, especially in Nebraska, like to go out and cut wood still. And when they do, 50% of their energy is going to heat and other 50% is going to waste. The next one is electric resistance. It's 100%. Next is heat pump. A heat pump is 250% efficiency. And the last is a geothermal heat pump, 400% efficiency. And most of you guys are thinking, well, wait a second, only playing football, in football, you could go 150%, right? You can't go over 100%. But typically in football, when you're playing football, they always say, we're going to go 110 or 150%. Well, anyway, with air source heat pumps, you're 250%, and geothermal, you're 40%. What that means is that for every unit of fuel, therms for natural gas, if you get your bill, it'll say how many therms you use, gallons for propane, and kilowatt hours for electric, a certain portion of the energy consumed in your home goes to heating your home, and the rest goes to waste. So, for example, for wood, like I said, 50% of the heat or energy that is released from burning wood goes to heating your house. The other 50% goes up your flue or your chimney. So that is wasted energy. For gas, typically 1 therm or gallon of propane, 95% of the energy released when you burn propane or natural gas goes to heating your house, and 5% is exhausted or wasted. Electric resistance furnaces, which has an electric coil, kind of like your space heaters or your radiant heaters, such as Cove Heat and such like that, are 100% efficient. It means that every kilowatt hour that's consumed, the energy that is released when you run that electricity or that energy through a electric coil goes to heating. There's none wasted, so it's 100% efficient. But for heat pumps, for every 1 kilowatt hour that you consume, you get 2.5 times the energy to heat your home. So how does that work? The kilowatt hour is used not to generate the heat like in electric resistance, where when you turn on your space heater, it glows red and air blows across it and you bring heat into the house. But the kilowatt hour is used to pump heat through a refrigeration process that they have through your heat pump, outdoor heat pump, from the outdoor air into your home, and vice versa from inside your home, outside your home. So during the winter, we're pulling heat out of the air from the outside, bringing it into your home. And during the summer, it's pulling the heat out of your air in your house and releasing it to the outside. So for every kilowatt hour of energy that's consumed, you get 2.5 energy in your home moved. For geothermal, it's the most efficient. For every 1 kilowatt hour used, 4 times the heat you will get from using geothermal from 1 kilowatt hour used. Geothermal uses ground temperature in your home, the ground temperature from outside, and brings it to the inside through a refrigeration process. And then during the summer, it pulls the heat out of your house and puts it back into the ground. And so the one thing, though, is that the difference between an air source heat pump and a geothermal heat pump is that air source, the one that sits outside your house, the air conditioner that sits out there and makes noise during the summer, or that heat pump outside, it can only pull the heat out of the air that's available. So during the winter, when it gets really, 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 really cold, there's less heat outside the pull inside, so your efficiencies drop a little bit, and that's why it's 2.5. But for geothermal, the temperature of the ground is consistent and all year round, and so outside temperatures doesn't change it at all. And so that's why you can always stay at a 400% or 4 times the amount of heat that you can put into the ground or out of the ground through your heat pump system. So the higher the efficiency, as you can see here, generally the lower your heating bill should be. Now, cooling efficiencies. As you can see here, air conditioning, there's an air conditioner, window air conditioner. There's a heat pump, or that could be an air conditioner. And the next one is a geothermal heat pump. Again, for air conditioning and air source heat pumps, they are located outside and are exchanging heat with outdoor temperatures. Geothermal heat pumps, on the other hand, again, exchange heat with underground temperatures and therefore more efficient. So inherently, the air source equipment are less efficient in cooling than geothermal heat pumps. As you can see there, there are ratings on the air conditioning at 13 EER, air source heat pump 13 EER, and geothermal heat pump 18 EER. EER stands for energy efficiency ratio. The less cost, the less, let me try to explain it the best, is that the lower the number, the more it's going to cost you. So it's less efficient. And so if you're really thinking about it, if you're buying a car, you're looking at your economy of your car. How many miles per gallon does it get? This is the same thing. So, you know, the higher the mile per gallon that you get, you know, the further you go, the better, right? And so same thing with EER, is that you want the higher number. And so when a contractor contacts you and says, hey, you need here's a couple systems that you can put in for cooling your home, they're going to tell you this one is 13 EER, 14 EER, maybe they say 11 EER. But remember, the higher the number, the more you save. And so cooling efficiencies, you want to make sure you get the higher the number for savings. Of course, we know that replacing the heating and cooling system is quite expensive. So NPPD helps our customers and our wholesale customers by providing an incentive up to $3,300 for upgrading to high efficiency heat pumps. You know, I don't know if one of you guys have replaced ones lately, but you could see anywhere from $10,000 all the way up to $20-some thousand to put a heating and cooling system in. And multiple houses have multiple heating and cooling systems. So that could be double then, you know, $10,000 to $20,000 to $40,000. So that's a pretty significant cost. However, we got to remember, majority of your heating or your annual energy bill is heating and cooling your home. So we want to make sure we pay attention to that. So $3,300 is meant to help offset portion of the cost to help our customers make a decision, become more energy efficient in their home. NPPD's EnergyWise program, such as this heat pump, high efficiency heat pump program, is for NPPD and wholesale customers only. One of you guys would have to contact your local utilities, see if you have any similar programs, if you are not a NPPD customer or one of our wholesale customers. Some of the wholesale customers in our area that we have around here is like Elkhorn, Stanton Public Power, and Southern and such. There's many different public powers across the state that participate in these programs. So if you are not our customer, make sure you contact your local utility, see if they have the program or if they participate in NPPD's EnergyWise programs. For more details on the high efficiency heat pump program or any of our EnergyWise programs, you can always visit nppd.com, click on Save Money tab, and select incentives for your home. There'll be a drop-down menu that shows all of the incentives that we'll be talking about today. NPPD has partnered with Nebraska Energy Office to provide low-interest loans for those who need financial assistance in replacing their heating and cooling systems. The customer can choose the 1.5 interest loan that's available through the Nebraska Energy Office, or they can get the direct incentive that we showed before, up to $3,300. Customers can't get both. The 1.5 interest for high efficiency heat pump systems are for homes that are 5 years and older. So if you have a house that's less than 5 years in this program, you don't qualify. You can also finance underneath this 1.5 interest loan backup furnaces such as electric, programmable thermostats. If you need to have some ductwork modified or changed, that could be all within this low interest loan. This loan is administered through the Nebraska Energy Office's Dollars in Energy Savings Loan, as you can see circled there. You could visit their website at neo.ne.gov, click on how to apply, or you can click on download loan form as well. Customers contact one of the 600 plus participating banks across the state, or contact your local bank to see if they participate. If they do not participate, contact the Nebraska Energy Office to find out if you can get that list of 600 of the 600 banks that are participating. There are about 10 business days for processing, so you can't really start any installation or anything until it's been approved. Additional to our incentive or the Nebraska Energy Office loan, there is an opportunity for customers to get a tax credit. So regardless of either option taken, the customer may also qualify for a federal tax credit if they are installing a new high efficiency heat pump or a geothermal heat pump system. Excuse me. Visit federal tax credits for energy efficiency at the Energy Star website to see if you would qualify. You can get 30% of your installed cost for air source heat pumps up to $2,000 and 30% of the total install cost for geothermal. So think about this. You could either get the 1.5 interest loan and the tax credit, or you can get our incentive from NPPD up to $3,300 plus 30% of that back as a tax credit. To qualify for a tax credit, you must meet the federal government requirements, and you must meet the minimum efficiency requirements for the equipment installed. So as you can see on the website there, that's where you click energystar.gov and start going through the process of applying. All right, so now we got tip number 1, which is a big one because that's the one that uses 54% of your annual energy use. Tip number 2 is add insulation where current levels are below recommended standards. Now that we've upgraded our heating cooling system, the next thing we need to focus on is how to keep from losing that heated and cooled air from our house. We can help reduce heat loss during the winter or heat gain during the summer by improving our insulation levels in our house. So most of you guys probably think your house is well insulated. Think again. Did you know that the average wood frame home that we see in Nebraska has a measured exterior wall R value of only 9.6, and that an average cement block home has a measured exterior wall value R value of between 3.6 and 8.6. So you're probably asking, is that bad or is that good? Let's learn a little bit about insulation in your home. Most people understand inches of insulation in their home, or maybe they just know that it's well insulated because it's a new home. But really, how do you really know how well insulated your home is? Well, one way is by inspecting and calculating your home's R values. What is an R value? And how do you calculate it? I will try to show you without all the technical details what an R value is. R value stands for the measure of insulation's ability to resist heat traveled through it. You can see in this graphic that the higher the amount of insulation, you can see on the right side says R49, and you say C 16 to 18 inches deep. The higher the amount of insulation, the greater the R value. The higher the R value, the greater resistance to heat traveling through to the other side, the inside of the home. As you can see, I put a little fire up above, and you see the thermostats or the gauges there showing with little insulation, it's hot in the inside of the house. And as you add more insulation, it gets to warm instead of hot, and then eventually to cold. Not really so much cold because you know you'll have some heat in there, but it's colder. And so 16 and 18 inches deep. So how do I know I have enough R value in your home? As you can see also from the left to the right, before we move on, you can see the left with little insulation is R15, so that's a low number. And on the right, R49 is a high number. So the more inches of insulation, the higher the number. How do I know if I have enough R value in your home? The International Energy Conservation Code adopted by the state of Nebraska provides minimum R value levels required for our climate zone. The state of Nebraska has published these, and all the builders in our state are supposed to meet these requirements as a minimum. Now at NPPD, we typically, when we do an energy audit or we look at our values, we typically have our own value that's a little bit higher than these numbers. But as you can see in this picture, you can see the requirements that's expected for this climate, for homes in this climate. Attic ceiling R49, and that's where you lose most of the heat through. R20 is the walls. You got floors, crawl space, and slab edge, which is down in the dirt, so that it's not going to be exposed to really cold temperatures. So we need less insulation down there. To determine your R values, one can inspect the insulation levels in the areas shown, or contact the local home inspector, a contractor, or ask for energy assessment by one of your utilities. Once you find out if your home is either well insulated or needs more insulation, the following NPPD program can help ease the cost of adding insulation to your home. This is our EnergyWise attic insulation program. A customer of ours can earn up to 30 cents per square foot of attic space insulated, up to a max of an incentive of $600. In order for customers to qualify, they must be first heated primarily by either electric resistance or a heat pump. Gas customers will not qualify. Another qualification is that the home must have 6 inches of attic insulation or less, and the customer must be adding 6 inches or more to the attic. The customer can either add the insulation themselves or hire a contractor. Either case, a receipt or an invoice for the purchase of the insulation must accompany the completed application shown in the presentation there. Again, our program is not designed to pay for the full insulation or the installation. It's just to help incent people to be more energy smart with their home. So next thing, tip number 3. Another way to keep heat out or in your home is to prevent air infiltration by sealing and weather stripping where your house has leaks. Majority of all homes have air leaks, or what we call air infiltration, which can be costly to our customers. Conditioned air, either cool in the summer or warm in the winter, escapes the home through holes located throughout your home, and this drives up your utility bill. Some sources of air leaks in your home are floors, walls, and ceilings. As you can see, that's 31%. That's the largest piece of the pie. Heating and cooling ducts located in the attic or unconditioned basement or crawl space. These are heating cooling ducts that are located where the temperature, it gets down to possibly the outdoor temperature. So up in the attic, if they're not properly insulated, that really cools down the heated air that goes through it. So you can lose some air through the joints there and such. And so you could pick up some energy savings by insulating those and sealing them too as well. Drop ceilings, water and furnace flues, window frames, recessed lighting, electrical outlets and switches. And let's go back to recessed lighting just for a second. A lot of people are switching to these new can lights or these hockey puck LEDs, which we'll talk more later. One of the things is we find them to be very leaky because people don't properly seal around them. So when you're getting them installed, make sure there's good tight airtight fits, and then also there you could use some either gasketing or caulking on that. The other thing is attic entrance, door frames, plumbing and utility accesses, sill plates, and chimney flashing. There's a lot of different things that can leak in your home. One of the quickest dollar-saving tasks you can do is to caulk, seal, and weather strip all seams, cracks, and openings to the outside. Here's a busy list, and it's a very busy list, but the reason why I put this all in here is that when you guys get done with the presentation, you want to go back and look at this list, you could go back to the recording and get this information off of there. Here's a few tips for you to seal leaks in your home. Some ways to look, way to tell if you have leaks into your attic is go up in the attic, pull up your insulation, see if there's any dirty spots underneath the insulation. So if you pull that insulation up and look underneath it, there's different dark spots. You know, most insulation is either pink or white. And when it's black or something like that, it means there's air flowing through it. And so you got airflow through it. Another thing is to turn on all your outside ventilation, such as bathroom fans, your dryer, your stove vents, you know, above your cooktop. You know, you ventilate, turn all that stuff on. That will create a negative pressure on your house. And basically you can go around and you could take like a smoke pencil or incense or something like that and put it around the doors and windows, around the frames of the doors and windows, and you can see it blowing. That will provide a little bit of a pressure in your house, and you find those air leaks. Some of you guys might already know you have air leaks because you sit next to that window, and when it's blowing outside, you get really, really cold. So there's a few things there on there to how to find your leaks and how to seal your home. Next, I want to talk about Nebraska Energy's Office Weatherization, Low-Income Weatherization Assistance Program. This is a program for those that have low income, some of them of which can't afford to make their house more efficient. And so what you do is you contact the Nebraska Energy Office or visit their website and sign up for weatherization program. There is a link on there, just a little bit below the link that we had for the low interest loans. You can apply for it. Some of you guys might think, hey, you know what, I'm not low income. I make a pretty decent salary. But believe it or not, it's based upon how many people are within the home, how many kids you have. And so you could be making a pretty good amount of money, and you can have 4 or 5 kids and still qualify. So also, if you are low income and you do definitely need help, they will bring people in to do like a quick energy assessment of your building or your home, and find the most effective things that need to be improved that will save you the most energy, and they'll replace it for free. And so there are some really cool things within this program. Make sure you go to their website and look at the details. It's not administered by us, but we like to let our customers know it's available. Tip number 4, keep your heating and cooling system clean and replace dirty filters. For dirty filters, we recommend to replace your air filter every 30 to 60 days or as necessary. The reason why I say as necessary is because sometimes you can pull it after 60 days and you can see really clearly through your filter. It's not dirty, so you might want to just time it. Now, one of the time of years that are most dirty, where you can have the most dust flying, would be during the winter, because the air is typically dry, and so dust tend to fly a little bit more. And so you see filters plug up a little bit more during the winter than the summer. Not always the case, but that's what we see typically on the field. If you're using a fiberglass filter, which are those little wispy filters, think about upgrading to pleated filters, because what happens is that the fiber ones, that's actually fiberglass, only traps the larger particulates, and then the smaller stuff goes right through it. And whatever gets through the filter goes right into your coil. And so if you see that little V that's right there above what kind of looks like a fan, there's a little V, upside down V there. That's your coil. So if it gets past the furnace filter, goes through the fan, and it goes up into your indoor coil, that thing gets dirty. And so if there's dust that's getting past your filter, it'll clog that up, and the less airflow, the less efficient your system will run. Excuse me. Another thing you need to pay attention to is what they call as the MERV rating, M-E-R-V, which filters out dander, pollen, and other pollutants in the air. Getting the highest MERV rating means that you're going to have the most filtration of all those pollutants. But it isn't the best, always the best, since it can cause your system to run less efficient, because the smaller the holes through the filter are, the more it filters and everything, the less the air can flow through it, and therefore your system won't run as efficient. So make sure you ask your HVAC manufacturer or your contractor to find out what's best for that system you have installed. So guess what? NPPD has a program that helps out keep your system running efficiently. So NPPD's cooling system tune-up program helps our customers tune up or service the air conditioner or heat pump before each cooling season. The outdoor cooling coils that you see outside with the fan and everything gets dirty from the cotton in the fall, from dirt blown around during the winter, or the dirt that settles as the snows melts. The indoor coil, which I showed you, which was the V before, gets dirty sometimes during the winter or when the filter is not properly filtering out all the dust. That gets clogged, and servicing by your contractor will help clean both the indoor and the outdoor cooling coils and help that run as efficient as possible. Servicing your system once a year, or what we recommend 3 years, helps your system run efficient as possible. The incentive here is for residential customers only, not for commercial, but it's for residential customers only, and we pay $30 per tune-up. Eligible systems, like I said, was air conditioners and heat pumps, and the $30 is kind of help to incent people to maintain their system, so it doesn't pay for the full cost. We try to shoot for about half the cost, but sometimes it's only a third of the cost. So we're trying to do our best to get that covered and help our customers be efficient as possible. Tip number 5, lower your thermostat settings in the winter and raise the heating or raise the setting in the summer. Set temperatures appropriately for energy savings, winter at 68 degrees and summer at 78 degrees. Each degree higher saves approximately 6% on air conditioning costs, and each degree lower saves about 2 to 3% in heating costs. Utilizing a setback thermostat features on your features when you are away for the day or the weekend will save you money. Another thing is to install a smart thermostat. Smart thermostats are said to save you up to 8% off of your heating and cooling bill. NPPD's Energy-Wise Smart Thermostat program helps our customers partially offset the cost of purchasing a smart thermostat. Electric heated homes, either resistance heat or heat pumps, can receive an incentive up to $100. For gas customers, up to $50. In order to qualify, customers must meet all the program guidelines and must fill out the application form and submit it in with a receipt for the purchase. Thermostats that qualify can be found on Energy Star website, which is energystar.gov, or by visiting our link listed on nppd.com. Tip number 6, replace existing old water heaters with a new Energy Star qualified heat pump water heater. Use less hot water and set to 120 degrees. If you remember back on that pie chart, 18% of your home's energy use is due to hot water. The easiest way to save on using hot water is to use less of it by installing things such as low flow shower heads, sink aerators, wash with full loads or laundry or dishes, full load of laundry dishes, and to machine wash with cold water only. Remember, Stone Cold Steve Austin is on TV telling everyone to wash in cold water, so it'd be best if we listen to him. Also, it will save you money. The next best way to save on hot water costs is to lower your hot water heater temperature to 120 degrees. Many homes that we go into have temperatures well above 100 degrees, some exceeding 135 to 140 degrees. By lowering your water temperature 120, not only do you save on your utility bill, but you also reduce the risk of scalding. Also, you could save on hot water costs by insulating all hot water lines that are accessible. If you go down in the basement, you can see the hot water lines. They're either copper or there's a plastic PEX. Make sure you insulate all hot water lines that you can get to. And 4 feet of cold water lines are coming into the top of the water heater. And at last, replace your old water heater with a heat pump water heater. They are 190% efficient. They operate like your air source heat pumps, so they're pumping hot air from the air around it into your water. And the best thing I like about it is that they're able to be controlled by your smartphone. So you can set the temperatures accordingly when you have a lot of people here or when you're away or at night while you're sleeping. Our incentives are up to $200 for heat pump water heaters. We have an Energy-Wise program for that as well, which helps with a portion of the cost. Customers can get up to $500, but the most common one is the $200 one, which is an air source heat pump. Customers also have the option to apply for a Nebraska Energy Office loan, and you can visit their website for more details. Next, tip number 7 is replace outdated appliances with Energy Star appliances. Appliances that are manufactured today are typically much more efficient. As appliances age, their efficiency decreases. Knowing the age and life expectancy of your electric appliances can help you understand your electrical use in your home. If your appliances are at or nearing the end of end of life, you may plan ahead. When replacing old appliances, pay particular attention to energy efficiency. In most cases, the energy efficient choice will save you money. What do I buy and how can I tell if the appliance is energy efficiency? When you shop for a new appliance, look for the Energy Star label. As you can see, that's a blue label. It's very common. You can see it on many things, including your TVs and such. Energy Star products usually exceed minimum federal standards by a substantial amount. To promote conservation, the federal government requires manufacturers of large appliances to display this information. And also, they require them to put an energy guide label on there. So if you're looking at your appliances, that energy guide label is located on refrigerators, on dryers, or on wash machines, on dishwashers, and water heaters and such. The energy guide is designed to assist you in deciding which appliance will be less expensive to operate over the lifetime of the appliance. So look at those 2 labels right there, and also look at the graph right there. The expectancy for an air conditioner is 18 years. And so if you're hitting about 15 years, start planning ahead, put some money away on the side and think about how I can be most efficient and what kind of system can I buy. Most people wait until the appliance breaks down, and then they're in a rush to get it replaced, and they're going to buy whatever's available, and sometimes at a higher cost. You can see there too, a heat pump's about 16 years, your refrigerator's 15. I know some people have those gold and avocado refrigerators out there that are still running from the 70s. So when it gets past those times, they may be still running, but the problem is the efficiency is no longer as good as it was when it was brand new. The next thing is, this chart is a graph showing how much typical appliances use per year and its corresponding cost based upon national averages. For example, a refrigerator uses almost 5 times the electricity than the average television uses. And that's back, this graph here is a couple of years old, and that's before some of these TVs, these LED TVs are become really efficient too. So you can see there are some of the things out there that are really expensive all the way down to the cheapest. So here's one of the things you see at the top, electric blanket, pretty low to operate because you're only running it for a little bit of time. So here's one tip you can do on saving on heating and cooling. Reduce your temperature at night. Like I said, those setback temperatures with your thermostat, turn it down a couple of degrees, which means the house gets a little bit cooler during the winter, but throw that electric blanket on. You're going to save more energy by doing that. Next, we're going to talk about NPPD's Energy-Wise induction cooking program, which helps their customers upgrade from a gas cooktop or a standard electric range to a more efficient cooktop, which directly heats the food through the method of induction heating versus heating the whole cooktop and all the air around it and everything. This program provides an incentive of 20% of the purchase price. Customers should be able to access this program online and review the program guidelines for details to see how they can qualify. So 20% of the purchase price, that does not include installation taxes and such. And there's a 30-inch minimum width on this. So make sure you look at the program guidelines. Another way you can reduce heat in the summer in your house, and I call it heat gain from a source is your cooktop, is by cooking not with your cooktop or your stove, but using the microwave to cook, cooking outdoors on your grill, or when you do have to cook inside, like the picture shows you there, make sure you have your lid on there. Not only does it help you get to a boiling point on water when you're cooking with water, but it also keeps that hot, moist water from entering the air and the heat being released from that pot. Tip number 8, we're coming down to the end. Tip number 8 is use Energy Star qualified LEDs in place of inefficient lighting in your home. Today, many homes have already switched to LEDs. It's a common practice anymore, but there are still few inefficient lights still lingering about, especially out on farms, ranches, workshops, and such, and maybe even garages. LEDs save up to 80% over previous lighting types in the home, such as incandescent and other fluorescent types. NPPD has a prescriptive lighting program, which originally was designed for commercial and industrial applications, but it also applies to residents to have the same type of lighting that you would typically see in commercial and industrial lighting applications. For linear fluorescent bulbs, which are the long bulbs, those fixtures, outdoor area lighting, such as like the lights on the outside of a garage, that's a big wall pack, floods the whole yard, or maybe the yard light that's on a pole. And there's other lights that qualify for this program. Incentive amounts are shown on the brochure there. And if you're interested in seeing if you qualify, or if the lights that you're trying to replace qualifies, make sure you contact your local utility or contact me, or visit nppd.com and look at the program guidelines. We would be glad to help you. The next tip, not the last, but the tip number 9 is to replace old single pane leaky windows and uninsulated leaky doors with new Energy Star windows and doors. Windows can account for 10 to 25% of your home's heating bill, especially in colder climates like ours. If you have an older home, you may have inefficient single pane, leaky glass windows, and leaky doors. If you do, you may consider replacing them with a good quality double pane, low E window and or polyinsulated door. What low E stands for is basically it's a film or a design of the window that reflects the heat from coming in from the sun and back out. So basically when the sun rays hit the windows, it bounces off and goes back to the outside and it does not come in. So a low E window is a rating that you can get. And double pane means there's 2 pieces of glass there with typically like a gas such as argon that is kind of an insulating gas. Other windows that also are more efficient are the casement windows, the crank out windows. Those are more efficient because when the window closes, it pushes against the seal versus slider windows, which has kind of like a brush-like seal, which can be very leaky sometimes. And so the most efficient windows out there are typically crankcase ones, but not always the case. They're getting better and better for sliding windows. Another option instead of replacing the window, because they're quite expensive, is to maybe just add a storm window or door. Those are fairly cheap compared to the price of replacing the whole window. And by putting a good steel storm door or window on, you're actually adding another layer of glass and also an air pocket there that helps improve the R value of your window. They can also help reduce drafts, water condensation, and frost formation on your windows. As a less costly and less permanent alternative, you can also use a heavy-duty clear plastic sheet on a frame or tape clear plastic film to the inside of your window frames. Remember, the plastic must be sealed tightly to the frame to reduce infiltration. You can see the guy in the picture adding, there are kits that you could buy at your local hardware stores. Adding shades to the inside or the outside of your windows can also help prevent heat gain and helps reduce cooling costs. So instead of replacing the window and getting low E, if you put those overhang shades, or putting the interior shades, or having some thermal curtains installed, will help reduce that heat gain into your house. Here is a picture of showing that we're in the northern zone. And the top picture says, which says Windows Best Window Company. That's just a fictitious name. Basically, the way that you can tell your Windows efficiency, it says there the U factor. And so we already talked about R value. R value, the higher the number, the better. Well, U factor is basically the inverse of R value, and that might be a little more technical, but basically take the R value and take 1 over the R value. So like we'll say 1 over 10, and that number is a decimal point. You can see that in the top left box there, that 0.22. So since it's an inverse of the R value, the lower the U factor, the more efficient it is. So don't get that mixed up. When they talk about U factor, the lower, the more efficient. But when you talk about R value, the higher, the more efficient. Look at all the other information there. You can see in the bottom right hand box there, it says less than 0.3 air leakage. And so that's a measured amount of air that can flow through the window. And there's also solar heat gain coefficient. That's how well the window is able to keep the heat out. And that number is actually put on there to tell you how efficient it is at doing that. And you can see in the boxes down below the annual energy savings when replacing. If you're replacing a single pane clear window, you could save up to 12%, $568. If it's double pane clear window, you're replacing it with more efficient ones, you can save up to $282. You can see that you could save a lot of money by replacing your windows. But remember, that is not one of our areas that has the most heat loss through it. It's attic insulation and your walls and such. So moving on, we need to keep moving here. The last tip is to minimize plug loads. Unplug your electronics and appliances that are not in use. That meter that you see on there is what we call is a kilowatt meter. You can buy them at a local hardware store. So if you want to know how much this appliance is using, you can plug it in right into your outlet and plug it into the meter, and it'll tell you how much energy is actually being used there. Make sure you turn off your appliances and such. Next, you can see that the plug load is getting larger and larger over time. 1970s, you can see that there's a few things plugged into the home, but in the 2000s era, we can see so much more things are being plugged in, and so much more energy goes to plug loads. And so what we want to do is be cautious of that and unplug things that are not in use. All right, that's our top 10 list of how to save energy. Our next thing is that we have here is our last of our residential NPPD incentives. We have a lawn and garden incentive program, which gives you 20% of on any electric chainsaw, tiller, snow blower, or lawnmower. And then it also lowers energy costs by changing to electric. You can cut the operation costs approximately half of the cost of gas-powered option. There's less maintenance, and it's quieter and more eco-friendly. So if that's what you're looking for, you could do that. Electric vehicle incentive program that we have, we pay you $500 for a charging station. We know that electric vehicles are coming. Some people disagree how fast or how slow it's going to be, but we pay you $500 for a charging station incentive and $400 pre-wire your house or to wire your house. You get $400 or 100% of the cost up to $600 for wiring. If you want more details, go to our website and look at the program guidelines and see how you can qualify. So what can you do? Do your part in being energy efficient and spread the word about what you learned today. That is my presentation. There's so much more I'd like to share with you, but we're running out of time. So I'm at questions. Anybody have any questions?
Uh, just a reminder to everybody, we'll probably be putting out a poll here momentarily. If you could just answer that real quick, and then we'll start answering any questions you might have. I know it was very interesting, Jim. It was learned a lot, honestly. Uh, did not know about how energy efficient the geothermal was. That
Yeah.
was honestly surprising, just how much more efficient that was for heating.
Yeah, that's a good option for people specifically out in the country.
Hmm.
You gotta have a little bit of area to be able to drill some wells or discharge the water. But there is options within the city too. You just have to work with the city to see if it's available to be installed within city limits. So
Hmm. I got one question. Will we be sending out a link to the recording? Generally we don't, I don't think. But it is generally available on our YouTube channel, which is just Conservation Nebraska. Those are usually put up 2 to 3 weeks after the event. So,
and if anybody have any questions after this presentation, there's my email address, or you can call me at that phone number right there. Be glad to answer anything. Even if you're not one of our customers, I can at least point you in the right direction.
we have another question from Robin. Apparently Robin has an EV, and they were wondering whether or not many people are buying electric vehicles.
In the state of Nebraska, what we're seeing is that particularly large cities are seeing more electric vehicles than rural, mainly because the accessibility of charging and also the range of the battery. So, a lot of electric vehicles are about 200 to 300 miles. And when you get outside of that range, you start getting to places where you think, well, where can I find a charger? So there's a lot of people in rural Nebraska that are waiting for chargers to be installed. And so we are seeing electric vehicle use more and more. We are promoting it, as you can tell through our programs. One of the things is that remember that there's hybrid vehicles. That's electric vehicle and a gas vehicle. So if you're looking to go EV, but you don't want to make the full jump, hybrid is another good option to go. And you can start getting used to plugging in your vehicle as you're traveling as well.
Hmm. Another question from Jenny. Is residential solar worth the cost?
Oh, good question. Residential solar has come down as far as the cost um, from previous years, but recently they started going back up. So for a while there, for the last 5 years, we've been seeing an increase in residential solar as far as cost prices. And so the lower the cost, the more the better the ROI, the return of investment. And based upon your application, there is some websites out there you can go to actually calculate, see if it's best for you. There is a lot of contractors that's also available out there that will help you with your calculation. We do have a trade ally list on our NPPD.com. I think OPPD and LES has one too as well. But what they could do is they'll calculate your savings. And keep in mind, anytime you do an investment like that, you want to make sure you have a good return of value. And so energy efficiency is a better option for investment because what you're doing is you're reducing the amount of energy you're consuming. So if one would find the window open in your house, you wouldn't leave it open and try to put solar on and try to produce more heat or cooling to make up for its loss of the window. You'd shut the window, right? And so what we try to teach is energy efficiency is the best. So make your home as efficient as possible first. And once you get your energy use down as low as possible, then solar is the next step. And yeah, and if you have questions, make sure you give me a call or visit your local utility.
Yeah, very interesting. And we'll probably wrap up with this question from Denise. Does Lincoln Electric have similar programs like the stove and microwave or stove and mower incentive?
I know LES has their own programs. I would contact them. We're not used to paying attention to what they have, but every utility typically has some kind of program that they're trying to do to help their customers. I just know we have ours, and most everybody else that is our wholesale customer participates in it too as well. LES, I know they have a few programs, so go through their website, look for energy efficiency or how to save money, or contact them directly. They'd be glad to answer that for you.
Mhm. It looks like we got one more. Should be pretty easy. Does NPPD do smart metering?
Smart metering. We have a smart app. Basically, what you could do is you go onto our app and you can actually look at your energy use through our app. Most of ours, if not all, not sure if I could state all, but most of our meters, you can actually look at your energy data within the last hour. It's not instantaneous, but it does give you daily and some hourly and how much it's costing you. So you can make some adjustments to your home and see how much that affects it. By looking at the NPPD app. The NPPD app does do that for you. For more accurate, there are third-party meters you can install on your breaker box downstairs or wherever it's located that will give you instantaneous data that also helps, but we don't promote it. We do use the tool, but yeah, you could use our app to get information. There's a lot of great information within the nppd.com app.
Awesome. Well, I think that's the end of the questions. Again, Jim, thank you so much for the presentation. It was great. And everybody that watched, you can expect to see this video up probably 2-3 weeks from now on our YouTube channel. And yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to contact Jim, and we'll wrap it up. Thank you, everyone.
And Connor, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate